Hey, what's up, guys? So, there is this new trend in college football that's becoming more and more of a thing about these players playing 4 games or playing in 4 games and then deciding they want to redshirt. It's a really bad look. I mean, it's basically just players quitting. Now, the whole idea with a red shirt, like I'm sure a lot of y'all already knew, the red shirt system was put into place years ago that a coach could decide to redshirt a player if that player just needed more development time, needed more time to get comfortable in the program, get comfortable with Division 1 college football, maybe needed to gain a little bit of weight or what have you. They could redshirt a player. When it first started, it was 2 games. As long as the player had played in 2 or less games, they could redshirt the player and earn that player 1 extra year of eligibility. And that's what it was for. And under that framework, hey, that's a great thing, a good developmental thing, because of a lot of the jumps these players were making, whether it be from high school to Division 1 college, or the junior college levels up to Division 1. Some players need that extra time, and that's fine. Or an injury, but a lot of times they would get they would get an extra year for that anyway. But it is the tables have kind of turned on this whole red shirt thing. Now, several years back, the NCAA actually amended the rule and said, well, okay, you can play in up to 4 games and still enact a red shirt and have a red shirt season, and get an extra year like that, and move on. And obviously, a player can only do this once. They can only red shirt one time. But here's where it's starting to get annoying, and it's this trend that we're starting to see of all these players, and it's not a coincidence that it's happening right around now. Week 4, 5, 6 time frame. I'm not expecting to see much more of it now that we're getting on into week 7 and past, because, like I said, you can only have played in up to 4 games. But it's this deal of all these players basically telling their coaches, hey, I've only played in up to 4 games. I'm not happy with A, B, C, or all above, and I'm going to quit. I'm going to redshirt the rest of the year, and then I'm out of here. For the most part, and it's sad to say, a lot of coaches just kind of let that go. But I wanted to do this video to seriously tip my hat in admiration, really, for Shane Beamer at South Carolina. Earlier this week, a defensive back who has played in, like I said, up to 4 games, and has gotten more playing time in each game they played. I mean, the guy has really become a part of their defensive plan and defensive strategy. Basically walked into Shane Beamer's office and said, all right, coach, here's the deal. Um, I've still got, the minute I've still got under the maximum playing time for a red shirt. So I'm going to quit. I'm going to red shirt for the rest of the year, but, I still want to stay. I'll practice, still want to live in the dorms, eat the food, use the workout facilities, training facilities. If I get hurt, you're still going to cover it. I still want all those perks, but I'm not going to play for you anymore. Coach Beamer told that kid to pack his stuff up and start kicking rocks just as fast as he could, and he was fired, basically kicked off the team. Coach Beamer said, "No, can't have it both ways. If you're going to quit, basically, because that's all you're doing, you're going to redshirt for the rest of the year. Get to the end of the year, hit the transfer portal, and go somewhere else. Why don't you just go on somewhere else right now? Let me go ahead and help you out the door." When I heard that story that he did that, it's no secret. I have in the past been critical of Shane Beamer and just kind of the way he's handled himself, how he's handled a couple of situations, and just kind of his personality, just overall. I don't have a personal problem with the guy, but this really kind of made up for any negative, thoughts I may have had about him in the past. Um, if more coaches would actually do this, I think it would cut through a lot of a lot of the drama that we deal with. Because basically, this player, I mean, here in the age of NIL, these guys want money. and they've basically turned it into a job for them. So hey, if they want money, now they're getting it. Let's treat them like an adult. Let's treat them like adults. Let's treat them like this is their job because they are doing this for money. Yeah, I know a college degree kind of comes with it, but whatever. At this point in college football, the degree is put so far on the back burner, it's not even really funny anymore. But let's look at it in terms like that of like this. The guy basically walked into his boss's office and told him when he was going to work and what he was and wasn't going to do. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a job. I have a full-time job, and if next week I walk into my boss's office and be like, "All right, here's the deal. Here's the days I'm going to work, the hours I'm going to work when I'm here, and here's what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do when I'm here." I probably wouldn't have a job by the time I walked out of the guy's office. And that's what happened to this player, and rightfully so. I mean, why or how he thought he could get away with telling his head football coach what he was and what he wasn't going to do and how he was going to do it, basically, dictate the terms back to him. And honestly, with a straight face, thought that was going to be the end of it. Like I said, good on Coach Beamer. I'm glad that he took that stand and basically called it what it is. The guy's quitting on his team halfway through the season because he wants to go somewhere else. And other teams have had to deal with this too. Just right off the top of my head, they've already had a player, a defensive lineman, I believe, from Alabama, has already done the same thing. Basically said, "Oh, I'm going to redshirt for the rest of the year," and then go somewhere else. Because whether the player A, B, or C at any given school does this, they're doing it because they want to leave. They're not these players aren't randomly redshirting 4 weeks into the season because and they still obviously and they still honestly have intentions of staying there. No, the transfer portal's not open yet. If the transfer portal stayed open all year long, could you imagine the chaos? Hopefully, God, please don't ever let that happen. The transfer portal is open twice. Once at the end of the year, and then in the spring, after most like spring games, there's a second period where the window opens again. I can only imagine the chaos and crazy that would happen if the transfer portal was just open all the time. It wouldn't be fun anymore. These players, they have gotten so kind of spoiled to getting things the way they want them, getting things their way, and they're all and at this point they're chasing money. Players who hit transfer portals, they are looking for bigger, better NIL deals elsewhere. Whether they're really happy with the school where they are or not, they're going to be happier if they can find a better deal somewhere else. They're going to say, "Oh, it's over playing time, it's over this or over that," and yeah, those reasons are going to have something to do with it, but it doesn't really change the fact that these players are quitting. Just like the guy at UNLV, the quarterback at UNLV, I kind of touched on that a couple of weeks ago. He's done the same thing. Now, granted, he did it for a little bit of a different reason, and I'm not saying it's okay, but he basically quit on his team because he said, "Well, I was promised this, and I only got that." Um, I'm not saying like it makes it okay what he did, but at least it gave him a reason. But he's at the end of the day, he still quit. Whether you've got a reason for quitting or not, you're still quitting. And I don't see how other teams that watch these players do this have any legitimate interest in signing that player because you know they've already done it once. You know, how do you know they won't do if they show up at your school and all of a sudden they're not happy with an NIL deal or playing time? How do you know they're not going to do it to you? So it's going to come back and bite more of these players than not. Just quitting on these teams and just redshirting. Because again, you can only do it once. But like I said, quitting on their teams and redshirting so they can hit the transfer portal at the end of the year. So, but yeah, like I said, Coach Beamer, Shane Beamer, you're one of my new favorites right now. Even though you are at South Carolina, I've got some family that are South Carolina fans, so it's always fun. But yeah, I really applaud him for taking the stand that he took, and it's going to be a great weekend.